10 Job's profile. Religious fables would have us believe Job was a faith giant. That he was a perfect man, who suffered great loss, but endured with great patience and humility until the end. Someone who sat on a dunghill, afflicted and tormented from the sore boils, yet never blamed or accused God. Nothing can be further from the truth. Talking Job's patient endurance would be like talking about Gideon's bravery. Selah. Job did not accuse God when he lost family and possessions. Job did not accuse God when he was afflicted with sores. However, when the sores did not heal, Job opened his mouth and what was in his heart started coming out. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Mt. 12:34. We will soon discover that Job's faith was in his own righteousness, rather than God's grace and mercy. That was the cause for the delay in his deliverance and could very well be the reason why the devil was able to bring the calamities. James and Peter both talk about God resisting the proud but giving grace to the humble. Jam. 4:6, 1 Pet. 5:5. The reason is not that God does not want to give grace, but rather that a proud man cannot receive grace. To receive grace, one must be humble enough to acknowledge that he cannot help himself and only God can help him. Pride is simply trusting in oneself. It is reliance on the arm of the flesh. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Pro. 16:18. A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Pro. 29:23. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. Pro. 11:2. After hearing about Job's afflictions, his friends decide to visit him. When Job's 3 friends heard of all the evil that had come upon him, they came each one from his place, Eliphaz the Temanite and Bildad the Shuhite and Zophar the Naamathite. For they had made an appointment together to condole and comfort him. And when they looked from afar off and saw him disfigured beyond recognition, they lifted up their voices and wept, and each one tore his robe, and they cast dust over their heads toward the heavens. So they sat down with Job on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights, and none spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief and pain were very great. Job 2:11-13 Amp. Observe what happens next. After this opened Job his mouth, and cursed his day. Job 3:1. Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, there is a man-child conceived. Why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Job 3:3-11. According to the devil, that is progress. Job cursed something, even though it was not God. We do not see the devil having further conversations with the Lord because the Lord had already told him he cannot take Job's life. After the devil had spoken to Job through his wife, he continued speaking to Job through his 3 friends. Satan had brought such accusation and condemnation through Job's friends, that Job attempted to dodge them by justifying himself and condemning God. God save us from such friends. Job called them miserable comforters. Job 16:2. In Job 13:4, he called them forgers of lies, physicians of no value. Job's response to his friends can be found in various chapters 10. At the beginning of their meeting, Job did not believe any of his friends could even begin to grasp what he was going through. This tends to be the case in many of our own life experiences. Job wanted to find a way to show his friends how bad things really were. It was his desire that they have a full understanding of his emotions and feelings. Job's grief was truly far greater than words could possibly describe. Let us now analyze Job's characteristics and his responses. Job believed in karma. Sowing and reaping, he believed in keeping the ledger clean, which is why he sacrificed each time his children threw a party. Job 1:5, he was really afraid of sin and thought about it continually, which made him sin conscious. He viewed sin as a hidden explosive device that could detonate any moment. Job 31, he had a legalistic mindset. The very concept of sowing and reaping is anti-grace. Just think about it, we sowed sin, how can we receive eternal life if it was about reaping only what we sow? None of us deserve any blessing, since all of us have sinned. Rom. 5, 12-6, 23, Job did not understand that the Lord had blessed him by the unmerited grace of God, not because of his own works. Isa. 64, 6, Job was self-righteous. He was full of self-righteousness, which is the works of the flesh. The scripture is very clear, that we can never be justified by our own works or efforts. Rom. 3, 20, Gal. 3, 10-11, Isa. 64, 6, the downfall of man always comes when he is dependent on the arm of the flesh. J. 17, 5, this dependence is what causes pride to take root in us. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Pro. 16, 18, in all of Job's arguments he only mentioned his self-righteousness and to the extent to say, I am more righteous than God, Job 35, 2. Even Job's friends mentioned it when they said, is not your reverence your confidence? And the integrity of your ways your hope? Job 4, 6 NKJV, the devil can whip you every time you operate in self-righteousness. The following statements reveal Job's faith in self-righteousness and his works. Because I delivered the poor who cried out, the fatherless and the one who had no helper. The blessing of a perishing man came upon me, and I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me, my justice was like a robe and a turban. I was eyes to the blind, and I was feet to the lame. I was a father to the poor, and I searched out the case that I did not know. I broke the fangs of the wicked, and plucked the victim from his teeth. Then I said, I shall die in my nest, and multiply my days as the sand. My root is spread out to the waters, and the dew lies all night on my branch. My glory is fresh within me, and my bow is renewed in my hand. Job 29, 12-20 NKJV, oh, let me be weighed in a just balance and let him weigh me, that God may know my integrity. Job 31, 6 amp, Job was bitter. As his affliction prolonged, Job allowed bitterness to take root. Bitterness is a manifestation of self-centeredness, which springs from self-righteousness. Bitterness is a grace blocker, as it does not allow you to set faith on God. Therefore I will not restrain my mouth, I will speak in the anguish of my spirit, I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Job 7, 11 NKJV, he will not allow me to catch my breath, but fills me with bitterness. Job 9, 18 NKJV, my soul loathes my life, I will give free course to my complaint, I will speak in the bitterness of my soul. Job 10, 1 NKJV, even today is my complaint bitter, my stroke is heavier than my groaning. Job 23, 2, Job was suicidal. Job saw himself a failure. Everything he trusted in, his sacrifices, his good behavior and his reasoning all failed him. The bitterness in his heart drove him to self-pity, which in turn caused him to desire his life to end. Why does God bother giving light to the miserable? Why bother keeping bitter people alive, those who want in the worst way to die, and can't, who can't imagine anything better than death, who count the day of their death and burial the happiest day of their life? Job 3, 20-22 message. That I'd rather strangle in the bedclothes than face this kind of life any longer. Let me alone. There's nothing to my life, it's nothing but smoke. Job 7, 15-16 message. Job loathed his life. He started loathing his life since he had lost respect in the sight of society. The common belief of the day was that misery only knocks at the door of a sinner. Hence the people were disdaining Job and looking upon him in contempt. But now they mock at me, men younger than I, whose fathers I disdain to put with the dogs of my flock. Job 30, 1 NKJV, and now I am their taunting song, yes, I am their byword. They abhor me, they keep far from me, they do not hesitate to spit in my face. Job 30, 9-10 NKJV, Job was impatient. Have you heard it said, we must be patient like Job? That is like saying be brave like Gideon. Job was not patient when he was afflicted. We cannot ever hold Job up as a role model for patience. By his own admission, he was bitter and impatient. A patient person would keep his troubles to himself, but for chapter after chapter, Job whines about his misfortunes. Job brags about his good behavior and wonders why God hates him. A patient person does not play the blame game, yet Job repeatedly blamed God for his troubles. Job 7:11, a patient person has hope, but Job wanted to die. Job 17:13-16, Job even said that God was trying to kill him. But now it has come to you, and you are impatient, it touches you, and you are dismayed. Job 4:4-5 Nasu. Therefore I will not keep silent, I will speak out in the anguish of my spirit, I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Job 7:11 NIV, is my complaint directed to man? Why should I not be impatient? Job 21:4 NIV, Job had poured out his heart to his friends regarding his afflictions. Job was saying to them, I did not deserve this to happen to me. To which, his friends respond by saying, God does not judge anyone without a cause. They argued with Job, saying it must be some sin on his part that caused God to judge him. They believed it was the chastening of the Lord, and that Job was to submit himself to it and repent. Job 5:17, before we start reading the verses, please keep in mind that these are words Job and his three friends said about God. It is only their opinion about why things were happening. Job and his friends were wrong in the alleging statements they made about God. For which purpose Job repented at the end. His three friends were rebuked by God for what they said. Job 42:6-7, his friends said, if you were innocent, you would not come to this state. Remember now, whoever perished being innocent. Or where were the upright ever cut off? Even as I have seen, those who plow iniquity and sow trouble reap the same. Job 4:7-8 NKJV, they were saying, God is correcting you for some fault of yours, so receive correction. Behold, happy is the man whom God corrects, therefore. Do not despise the chastening of the Almighty. For he bruises, but he binds up, he wounds, but his hands make whole. Job 5:17-18 NKJV, Job's friends were saying whatever happened to his children was because of their sins, and that God is righteous in doing so. Furthermore, they said, Job, you can be sure of this, you haven't gotten half of what you deserve, God is exacting less than your guilt and iniquity deserve. Job 11:6, does God subvert judgment? Or does the Almighty pervert justice? If your sons have sinned against him, he has cast them away for their transgression. Job 8:3-4 NKJV, they ask him to seek God in prayer, and if Job was faultless and righteous, God would answer him. By this they mean since Job did not have deliverance yet, there was some hidden sin in his life. If you would earnestly seek God and make your supplication to the Almighty, if you were pure and upright, surely now he would awake for you, and prosper your rightful dwelling place. Job 8:5-6 NKJV, the essence of the entire conversations between Job and his three friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar is this, they said God is judging you for your sin. Whereas, Job stood his ground and said, I am innocent, show me my sins for which God is judging me. So, now his friends start leveling false accusations against Job, which is pathetic. Do you see the accuser at work in this case through his friends? Satan's goal is still the same, to get Job to curse God. Zophar the Naamathite answers Job by declaring it is the wickedness of Job that the Lord has punished. The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The increase of his house will depart, and his goods will flow away in the day of his wrath. This is the portion from God for a wicked man, the heritage appointed to him by God. Job 20, 1,27-29. NKJV, Job replies to the accusation and questions, why are the other wicked not being punished? Why do the wicked live and become old, yes, become mighty in power? Their descendants are established with them in their sight, and their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, neither is the rod of God upon them. Job 21, 7-9 NKJV, then Eliphaz the Temanite answers and accuses Job of terrible things and tells him to repent of his many sins and get right with God. Is it because of your fear of him that he corrects you, and enters into judgment with you? Is not your wickedness great, and your iniquity without end? For you have taken pledges from your brother for no reason, and stripped the naked of their clothing. You have not given the weary water to drink, and you have withheld bread from the hungry. But the mighty man possessed the land, and the honorable man dwelt in it. You have sent widows away empty, and the strength of the fatherless was crushed. Therefore snares are all around you, and sudden fear troubles you, or darkness so that you cannot see, and an abundance of water covers you. Job 22, 1, 4-11 NKJV, if you return to the Almighty, you will be built up, you will remove iniquity far from your tents. Job 22, 23 NKJV, Job again replies but refuses to budge from his self-righteousness. Job maintains his stand that he has not done anything so wicked that this must happen to him. On the contrary, he declares the good deeds he has done. God forbid that I should justify you, saying you are right in your accusations against me, till I die, I will not put away my integrity from me. My uprightness and my right standing with God I hold fast and will not let them go. My heart does not reproach me for any of my days, and it shall not reproach me as long as I live. Job 27, 5-6 amp, because I delivered the poor who cried out, the fatherless and the one who had no helper. The blessing of a perishing man came upon me. And I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me, my justice was like a robe and a turban. I was eyes to the blind, and I was feet to the lame. I was a father to the poor, and I searched out the case that I did not know. I broke the fangs of the wicked, and plucked the victim from his teeth. Job 29, 12-17, after arguing back and forth for over 29 chapters, Job's friends could not argue anymore. They could not convince Job that he has wronged in anything. Which, indeed was true, the Lord had declared him perfect and upright. Therefore, Job did not deserve what he was going through. Since his friends could not explain why these things happened, they decided to put the blame on Job for having some sin in his life. This is what people do even today. They try to accuse or blame the victims. So these three men ceased to answer Job, because he was righteous in his own eyes. Job 32, 1, Job was more shattered and hurt because of his friends' apathy and false allegations. 1 rather suffer alone, than having such wound-picking friends. He expressed it by saying, how long will you vex and torment me and break me in pieces with words? These 10 times you have reproached me, you are not ashamed that you make yourselves strange. Harden yourselves against me and deal severely with me. Job 19, 2-3 amp, I've had all I can take of your talk. What a bunch of miserable comforters. Is there no end to your windbag speeches? What's your problem that you go on and on like this? If you were in my shoes, I could talk just like you. I could put together a terrific harangue and really let you have it. But I'd never do that. I'd console and comfort, make things better, not worse. Job 16, 2-5 message, during these arguments Job had become bitter against the Lord. He slipped into pity partying and whining. In his anguish he spoke bad things about the Lord. He started accusing him of many things. Job agreed with his friends that the Lord is the cause of his problems, but differed in that Job said he had not done any evil to deserve it. God has delivered me to the ungodly, and turned me over to the hands of the wicked. I was at ease, but he has shattered me, he also has taken me by my neck, and shaken me to pieces, he has set me up for his target, his archers surround me. He pierces my heart and does not pity, he pours out my gall on the ground. He breaks me with wound upon wound, he runs at me like a warrior. Job 16, 11-14 NKJV, he has fenced up my way, so that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness in my paths. He has stripped me of my glory, and taken the crown from my head. He breaks me down on every side, and I am gone, my hope he has uprooted like a tree. He has also kindled his wrath against me, and he counts me as one of his enemies. His troops come together and build up their road against me, they encamp all around my tent. He has removed my brothers far from me, and my acquaintances are completely estranged from me. Job 19, 8-13 NKJV, for the arrows of the Almighty are within me, my spirit drinks in their poison, the terrors of God are arrayed against me. Job 6, 4 NKJV. Then you scare me with dreams and terrify me with visions. Job 7, 14 NKJV, have pity on me, O you my friends, for the hand of God has struck me. Job 19, 21 NKJV, you have become harsh and cruel to me, with the might of your hand you keep me alive only to persecute me. You lift me up on the wind, you cause me to ride upon it, and you toss me about in the tempest. God has cast me into the mire, and I have become like dust and ashes. Job 30, 19, for I know that you will bring me to death and to the house of meeting appointed for all the living. Job 30, 21-23 amp, for calamity from God was a terror to me, and because of his majesty I could not endure to face him and could do nothing. Job 31, 23 amp, Job accused God of unjustly punishing him and being indifferent towards his sufferings. If I cry out concerning wrong, I am not heard. If I cry aloud, there is no justice. Job 19, 7, as God lives, who has taken away my right and denied me justice, and the Almighty, who has vexed and embittered my life. Job 27, 2 amp, I cry to you, Lord, and you do not answer me, I stand up, but you only gaze indifferently at me. Job 30, 20, once Job had pressed charges against the Lord, he decided to summon God to court and put him on trial. Surely I wish to speak to the Almighty, and I desire to argue and reason my case with God that he may explain the conflict between what I believe of him and what I see of him. Job 13, 3 amp, oh, that there might be one who would plead for a man with God and that he would maintain his right with him, as a son of man pleads with or for his neighbor. Job 16, 21 amp, then Job answered and said, even today my complaint is bitter, my hand is listless because of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come to his seat. I would present my case before him, and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know the words which he would answer me, and understand what he would say to me. Job 23, 1-5 NKJV, oh, for a hearing. Oh, for an answer from the Almighty. Let my adversary write out his indictment and put his vague accusations in tangible form in a book. Job 31, 35 amp, it is unimaginable that Job would actually say the following words, I am blameless. Therefore I say, he destroys the blameless and the wicked. Job 9, 21-22 NKJV, compare Abraham, who had a better revelation of God, said, far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked, far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? Gen. 18, 25 NKJV, Moses said, he is the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are justice, a God of truth and without injustice, righteous and upright is he. Do. 32, 4 NKJV. This profiling of the characteristics of Job was not to humiliate or belittle him. Many of us, if put in a similar situation, may respond the same as well. The profiling was to keep things in perspective. Religion has lied to us that Job was a perfect man who suffered patiently. Instead, we read from the Bible that he broke down in the middle of it. The good news is coming in the last chapter of Job. The stage is being set for God to enter the conversation when Elihu rebukes Job's self-righteousness, which we see in the next chapter.